welcome to Ancient Astrology with Sam and Verity.
Hi, I'm Sam Bakewell.
And I'm Verity Hebbs. And today for episode 8, we will be focusing on the moon. The moon in ancient astrology is often referred to as a planet, but it is also a luminary. So we'll take a look at the chart, see the rulership and symbols.
Okay, so the moon rules Cancer and is exalted in Taurus. It's in detriment in Capricorn and in fall in Scorpio. So it only rules one sign, just like Leo.
Yep, the sun with Leo, yep.
Okay, so what does it represent? The moon represents mother.
Yeah, mother, women, what else? So I guess that kind of nurturing side, family, the home, food, all those kinds of things you think of.
Like, change.
Yes, the moon is very changeable.
Yeah. And okay, so let's talk about food. Food's a good topic for the moon.
Yeah.
And you can often tell, what type of food that the person likes to eat. I mean, that's a that can be just with the sign that it's in, whether they eat too quickly, whether they like to have nourishing food. Some people just like fast food, sometimes like the moon in Scorpio, they can be people who like fast food, or they don't like to eat a lot of vegetables or salads or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Moon in Cancer would be, like they like a lot of different food.
Yeah.
And maybe
cooking the food themselves and would it represent appetite and how food is digested in the body as well?
Definitely yeah.
I think body, does the moon kind of represent the body as well?
Yes, it does. So pretty much in every book that you read from the ancients, they will talk about the moon and the body. And so that is our I mean, it's not so much your physical look,
it's more
because that comes from your ascendant and the Lord of the ascendant anyway, and you're not necessarily going to be a Taurus rising or a Cancer rising or have the moon in the first house. So it can be the way I feel like food is enough when you talk about the body, because it's what you're putting into the body and how you're nurturing the body,
and how your body kind of works with that food, how it breaks it down, where it sends it to, what it uses it for.
Exactly.
You get a lot of energy if you have a high metabolism.
So it's pregnancy as well. And once upon a time, before I was aware of looking at two charts, the husband or the partner and the female, the native's chart for pregnancy, I could predict in a pretty high accuracy, but still not 100% from the moon. If a person was in a moon month or year, particularly year, that they would fall pregnant. And it is still quite relevant like that, because it can be other people, it's not necessarily going to be the native that falls pregnant. It could be telling, like somebody at my age, it's telling more of somebody else that's going to fall pregnant, so then I can try to work out who that's going to be. But there is a lot more to fertility and pregnancy charts, than just the moon. But that's just one thing. It is. It's another unit basically of how and people specialize in that. So of course they get very good at predicting or advising people, when's the best time to fall pregnant,
with all the factors of that.
Exactly.
It's a good sort of way to see that energy and what it might play out as.
So for men, it's the wives. It's their wife. So that's another specialty topic, and we actually learn that in intermediate astrology lessons about relationships. So we have relationships, children, professions, so that's all our intermediate classes. And then people will specialize in that type of thing. They'll specialize in relationship. So an astrologer might specialize in advising people on their relationships, or when you might see that particular relationships astrologer for when would you meet a partner,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that kind of thing. When's a good time to get married, all sorts of different things, you know, why you would go to a relationships astrologer.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do that generally because we are taught, you know, the planet, the way I'm going to teach, pretty much same sort of curriculum, and you learn your foundation, you build on your foundation, and then you'll learn all this intermediate units basically.
Yeah.
So okay, so we have you know, wives for men, and we also have intuition.
Yes, which is very interesting.
So we all have intuition basically,
Exactly,
don't we? We all have the moon in our natal chart.
Yes. Yeah, that's very interesting. And some people feel that like their intuition or their gut instinct is more in their gut actually.
Yeah.
They follow their
Well,
gut.
that's funny. Yeah.
So that can be quite interesting and link. Yeah.
And some people use their intuition and others don't.
Yes.
And sometimes you might use your intuition for a year or two or whatever.
It could be
and then, you know, you are busy doing other things, so you haven't been able to work on that intuition. And
I like how I think sometimes moon things can be related to meditation and stuff like that. So it's kind of like slowing down, coming back into yourself, listening to yourself, and doing things like that can help you kind of come more into connecting with your intuition and yourself and what you truly, you know, feel about things.
That's
so
right.
all kind of, that sort of layer of the mind and the feelings and how it's all connected. Yeah.
So, meditation is a great topic because, you know, I often see people with a moon Saturn for meditators, long-term meditators. It's not to say that other people can't meditate. It's just that, you know, to put any sort of hard work into anything, it normally Saturn's involved, and you know, for long-term. And that's that longevity thing that we were kind of brushing on. The Saturn.
Practicing it.
Continuing, you know, for a long time.
And giving yourself the time to do it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that take hard work. You know, it's hard work really to find that same time each day to meditate. So, you know, discipline. So I find that with meditation, it's normally Saturn's involved, but doesn't mean that anybody can meditate, basically.
Might just be harder or not as
consistent.
And the people as well. That's an interesting.
So when you look at mundane astrology, and which is what I do on Facebook, you know, so I'm talking about the people or the collective, what they are doing, citizens, and that, so you can tell from the moon what the citizens are up to, or generally speaking, you know, because that moon's going to hit other planets in everybody's charts, right? And it moves so quickly, up to 13 degrees, roughly 13 degrees a day. So it's going to aspect something in your chart, you know, and so that's why, you know, it's also going to be significant to each person. And the moon by transit, you know, full moon, new moon, normally what we're talking about. And we sort of briefed on that as a start, you know, before we started filming.
Exactly. And it's interesting. Anyone can look up at the night sky and hopefully see the moon. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. You don't need any instruments. So that's one of the planets that anyone can see easily. It's right there, whereas you might not know where Venus is in the sky, or it might be hard to see it, or other planets. They're not always visible. But the moon is always there.
And it's our tides as well.
And so even people who don't know much about astrology or aren't interested in astrology, the moon still basically affects almost everybody, whether or not they're interested in astrology. Because it affects tides. You know, even people who work in medical or emergency fields often notice that there's more activity or emergencies occurring during full moons, or teachers might notice their students are a little bit more. So people kind of will, you know, say things like, oh, it must be a full moon, or what's going on with the moon, even if they don't really believe in or know much about astrology. It kind of is one of those things where it's almost a given that the moon does affect us. And
so that's it is something that's visual, we can see, and we're really part of the moon. And you know, women do take on certain feelings during a moon full moon or new moon phase.
Yes.
And that's because it rules women, you know.
Yeah,
so
that
we're
makes
kind of
sense.
shouldn't really say that we're the only ones connected, because there are a lot of men that are going to be very connected to the moon as well, especially if they're a Cancer ascendant or Taurus ascendant or have the moon in the first house. You know, they're going to be very connected to the moon.
But maybe kind of more to do with, like the cycles women have, like, menstruation.
Well, there's been celebrations, you know, for years around the moon. I mean, there's still full moon meditation groups and probably new moon meditation groups.
Yeah, and it makes the news quite frequently if there's a super moon or something like that.
Yeah.
It's quite, people know about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Cancer is a feminine sign, and the importance of a family, caring and nurturing their family. So not everybody's going to have, you know, a fantastic moon. So you're not always going to be, that particular person may not be somebody that's going to nurture their family. You know, they might be busy doing something else, working, or so it depends on what sign where the moon is placed. Actually, we might just go to a chart. Okay, so this is Cancer rising, and we're looking at the house with Taurus, because it is the exalted Lord is the moon, and where the moon is placed. So the key thing, I mean, we have this native has other gifts, has planets in the first house, so they're all gifts, so gift of speech and gift of enjoying life, basically, and good luck and good fortune. But if we look at the moon is placed in the second house.
Yes, right. So even though a lot of them, like themselves, is about the moon anyway, because of the Cancer rising, the moon being placed in the second house in Leo adds another layer to that, doesn't it?
Well, the native, you know, Cancer sign wants to be with family and wants to nurture his family, wants to be a mother. But how can you be a mother, and how can that sign distribute all the things it wants to when the moon is busy making money or spending money?
It's in the second house, which is an important.
So you normally find in this case, when the Lord of the first, it doesn't have to be Cancer, is in the second, then that person is their life is busy making money. And then there comes a time when they spend it, and it will be spending and making money. So that's an important area for this person. You know, so she started working when the children were very little. They had their own business. Or had their own business, and friends are very important as well, because the 11th house. So, you know, spending money with friends or on friends.
Generosity would be quite,
I mean, it is in that sign of Leo, so there would be some generosity, but it is an aversion. I mean, we haven't got to aversion yet, and we will start talking about aversion. So it's not connecting so well with the sign, so sometimes not feeling like they're getting everything they want. However, you know, it's still in a succeedant house, you know, so it's still a strong moon.
It could be hard juggling so much, you know, juggling roles of wanting to be, you know, nurturing and 100% amazing at everything that,
it's not saying that she doesn't want to be a mother,
but internally it could be, you could feel like, oh, I want to do this and this, but I've also got these commitments, and so either way you might feel pulled in different directions, and it can be frustrating.
Exactly. It can be,
feel like you're letting everyone down. It might not be the case, but you could just feel like frustrated about that. Or
well, she's placed in a money area, so that's going to be an important area. She's still a Cancer, so still family and important to her. That can be her own children, her own intermediate family, and her extended family as siblings and cousins and all the rest of it. But there is some sort of disunity because their sign and the planets are connected, right? So it's not an easy, like if the moon's in Cancer in the first house, it's very easy to be a mum and be a a brother or sister
Yeah.
or whatever, you know. But she does have Jupiter in Cancer there. So, you know, that's also saying the importance of family as well. And there is some good fortune there. And you know, a wise woman, wise person. So, you know, of course, we've got to look at the whole chart. But when we're looking at one particular planet, you know, and we're starting to pull that planet apart, we you know, we need to just look at that to start off with, and then we sort of go from that to the exalted Lord, which is in the first house, and then any planets in the first house. And of course, we have to consider any planets that are making an aspect to those planets as well. That's why I only have the 7 visible planets. If people are noticing, they're thinking, oh, where's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto? She doesn't have that in there. Because at the beginning, it's really important to just concentrate on your 7 visible planets. And so there's enough to look at, I feel, without having to go into.
Yeah, there's already a lot of material there. And I guess, Taurus with Venus in the 11th house is nice, isn't it? Like, or maybe, enjoys
the moon in Taurus.
Oh,
the what? Sorry.
Oh, and her chart, it was exalted Taurus with Venus. So that's quite a.
The exalted, where the exalted Lord of the moon. Would be in Taurus.
Yes, that's quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we just if you watch the Mercury episode, then we use this chart for that episode, but now we thought we would use it for the moon episode also, because the moon is tightly conjunct that ascendant, and it is in the first house. So it's very, very important. The moon is really significant to this native.
Yes,
so
just as much as Mercury was playing a big role, the moon does as well.
Exactly. Very good. And so we have the 12th house because it's Taurus, and we have the 2nd house. So we have a health house, and we have a money house. So,
and would the health house actually move back to the 4th as well, because Venus is there, and Taurus is also ruled by Venus? Or would you only focus on that?
No, because that is a whole nother planet we're looking at. So unless it makes an aspect, which it does by square. So we could, even if we said whatever we said with Venus and the moon would apply anyway. So yes, we in this case we could say that. So once again, money is significant. And with the moon, there's always changes going on with finances, and there's a health house involved. So we could simply say, you know, spending money on your health. Secrets, you know, keeping money secret.
Yes, true.
Yeah, spending money on, well, we haven't got to what body parts the moon rules, but it's a stomach. So we could say, you know, to do with food. Or food allergies even. Stomach issues. That's right. Exactly. Digestion and that kind of thing. So, you know, spending her money on that kind of thing. So that could also be things to help her, like vitamins, or I don't know what else. A health person to help her with her
or dietitian or things like that.
I'd like to see the 9th house doing something, but there will be a time where there would be a 9th house configuration anyway. So that probably would come in sometime in her life anyway. All right, so the moon's pretty quick, actually. I mean, quick as in there's not as much talk about like there was about Mercury.
It's not as much, but it's kind of something that's ebbs and flows, sort of like the moon itself, doesn't it? Like it can be an important part of your life at certain times and then not, or certain times of the month and then not. Like you were saying with intuition, like it sort of comes and goes, and because it's quick moving. So it can mean change. And
well, when you look at the moon and the transits to the moon, right? So the moon moves roughly around 13 degrees each day. going through that sign pretty quickly. So sometime in that phase, it's going to make an aspect to something. And because it moves so quickly, it can be a very quick event.
Yeah, it can be a quick aspect. That's right.
Yeah, so it's a quick event.
Have to be a big thing.
No, it could be that time where, let's say, the moon was in Taurus and it's hitting your Venus. So it could be the time where you just, I really need something sweet to eat,
I noticed that with the moons in Taurus, that I would be picking more at sweet things. Yes, I've noticed that. Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting because it is such a visible planet. It's a good one to watch and notice and to see, where is it and how is that affecting me? And you can easily pick up patterns quickly because it moves so often but repeats every month.
Yeah.
So even though it might be aspect to different planets in your chart, you can still kind of see what is the common theme. So I've noticed that with Taurus, and like I've noticed when the moon
That's very good. That's great to be so aware of what's happening, around you, because it's planetary energy and it really does affect us. And, if you're that aware, you're going to learn astrology so much more quickly. I think, because you're getting a better understanding of what the moon in Taurus means. So therefore you're getting a better understanding with Taurus, and then you're getting a better understanding with the moon as well. Yeah, that's fabulous. So the moon rules the bladder, the stomach, the breast, spleen, the left eye, and a lot of the ancients would say the left eye, your breath, and like if you don't eat all day, your breath is can be quite bad.
Yeah.
Not you personally. Generally. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you drink a lot of coffee and might get coffee breath.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's
what goes in comes out.
It's fluid and mucus and your lungs as well.
And so with mucus, is that sort of connected to the health side as well? So like colds and things like that?
Yeah, especially if Mars is involved, you find that, the native will have a cough. Like Mars on its own is coughing, but then if you have it joined with the moon, you have a mucusy cough, that real
annoying,
phlegmy.
Yeah, and it's the lungs as well, so it's so it can kind of sit there.
Yes, exactly.
Hard to shift.
Yeah. So, if you're a smoker and you don't have a good moon, you shouldn't be smoking anyway. But it's probably not great for you to be smoking if you have a debilitated moon.
And then Taurus is the other planet, that's exalted with the moon, and that's also a feminine planet, which is interesting because sometimes with sign, because sometimes with planets there's the feminine and the more masculine sign for each one.
Exactly.
So that's quite interesting.
Except for the planet,
the sun as well,
the signs that are ruled by the sun and the moon, they only have one sign that they're ruled by and one exalted.
That's interesting. I think it's it's a good one to pay attention to. It's so visible and like I said, moves quickly. So I find it's an easy one to sort of like, why is this happening today? What's the moon doing?
I know. I think a lot of people, even people that aren't astrologers or haven't even started studying astrology, are quite aware of the moon, and it probably is what brings a lot of people over to astrology as well. If they are quite aware that certain things happen to them during when there's a full moon or new moon,
And I think there's been a lot more kind of interest or a lot more people now know what their sun, moon and rising sign are. They might not know what the others are, but I think because the moon is it's that extra layer of, it's about your emotions or what's going on inwards, then people start to go, yes, that's amazing that is in that sign, and I can see how that easily connects to me. And even if it's just about themselves, it's an interesting
I mean, I find that a little bit annoying, the whole sun moon, when you go to a party and they say, they go, I study astrology, and what's your sun moon in?
But at least
And I'm
it's
like,
sort of a way
okay.
for them to know there's more going
Yeah,
on
but
somewhere.
astrology is not the quick fix
No, it's
thing. No, but
No.
anyway, each to their own.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously I've got a Mercury Saturn thing going on in my chart. Serious about astrology.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that episode on the moon, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye for
Bye.
now.